All right. Well, it's Saturday morning. I'm sure everybody wants to chat. Generally, get your live stream fixed right here and see where the day takes us. Yeah, it's been a good day. Hope everyone had a fun Friday night. And I hope everyone's tank is doing okay, which I'm sure it is. Most of us are not going to have an overnight problem. All right, seem to get some people popping in. How you guys doing today? I will admit, Hangouts are being a little weird. Hey, Shelly Fish. I don't know about you guys. You tend to burn up in the sun like Canadians, so. And let's face it, most reefers, we're not running around in the sun. Morning, Eradicate. Now, hopefully, I can get a few in here like Reef Jeeves and a few other people, or somebody new even. But a couple of the more experienced ones would be cool. So I have to run my wife up to work, which is literally 5 minutes. So, but I do have my coffee on. I do have my chat on. Let's rock and roll. That's it. And I'll tell you, if there was a ban on anything out of Indonesia, I can't find proof of it. I'm not going to say it's not happening because Reef to Reef is just on fire with this. But yeah, it's be interesting to see what the next couple of days bring. Oh well, that's different though. You're going to see a rugby match, right? You guys love your uh, football too. I know that. It's really funny that that's so huge in Europe, and yet in Canada, it's like, bah. Yeah, interesting. That's like us with hockey, though. So, no, be an interesting day. How's the tanks doing? See any closer to setting up that new one? You know, Eradicate, you say that. It's interesting that you say that. I think a lot of us wonder, well, if I was better, and it's like I think I don't know if it's a matter of being better. I think it's stability is everything, right? Even if all you're doing is keeping it stable, I think the tank will come. It's at what rate it will come, right? You know, are you going to have fast growth? Are you going to have slow and steady growth? That kind of thing, right? I almost prefer slow, steady, constant growth. So, Hmm. I wouldn't say it's ugly, man. I like the look of your tank. Um, no, football not so much for you, Shelley. Nothing wrong with that. I still love hockey, but I don't watch hockey anymore. I don't go to it anymore. I think once a certain generation of players was gone for me, it just, like myself, I just matured away from wanting to be into that, I guess, or just lost interest is a better phrase for it. So, to, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm not going to get into it just yet um, because it is an interesting discussion, but I have a fellow reefer locally here who ordered fish from J&L Aquatics out in, I think they're in Ontario. I'd have to look that up. I thought they were further out than that, but and he got ick, and it wiped out his tank, and he went against all advice, yada yada yada. So it'll be an interesting discussion to, you know, whose fault is it? Because it's funny right now, all he's doing is blaming the supplier for the bad fish. So it's like, oh well, I hate to tell you, blah blah blah. And I don't blame him for being upset. Losing all your fish to ick sucks, completely sucks. But there were things that were not done. Da 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 da. Link, please. Cruise. I will obviously. You want me to email it to you so we know what works? Or you just want to try it? Or did you try the one that's already there? That is sent, sir. Ick is a real game changer for a lot of people because it's so bloody bad when it breaks out in a bad way. Um, like I said, I dealt with it for 9 months. I'm still doing this. I almost quit. Um, it was just so heart wrenching to deal with. But I got lucky and managed to make it out of it with very, very little loss. This fellow, on the other hand, I think he lost everything, or he's lost like down to like one or two fish. But there are reasons things went so horribly wrong. You know, and what's worse is this person doesn't want to come in and learn. He just wants answers. That type that we talk about, where even though you're getting the information from us or anyone else, you're not really listening to it. You're just looking for that magic bullet, that holy hand grenade of Antioch that'll fix everything. And it's not like that. It's nature, man. There are things going on that you can't see at a microscopic level, like Miss Lurker Fox. I've heard her talk about. Like you just can't control it. It's going to do what it does. Like today, I'm removing a coral from my 20 that I don't think it's dinoflagellates, but it could be. So rather than deal with it and see what happens, I'm just going to remove it. It's not a coral I care about that it's on. It's actually a dangerous coral that it's on. So rather than mess with it, I'm just going to remove the whole bad karma mess right out of there and just deal with the tank on that basis. And then if it starts to show up, I'll deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So, but some people don't want to make that hard decision. They don't want to pull the fish out and put them into quarantine. They don't want to do that. Hey, what's going on, K-Reef? Somebody pronounce your name right now. I'll get it right. Is it Kohakas? Or Koakas? I don't know. Tell me which one was right. First, second, or third. Hey, Jets girl, what are you doing? My female cat is once again seeking my attention. And yes, she's fixed. This is just a demanding cat. Kohakai. Kohakai. I can deal with that. Kind of like Cobra Kai. Kohaku. Kohakus. Drop the S. Kohaku. Are you actually in Hawaii? That'd be even cooler. Kohaku. All right, cool. And now you're up on that chat. My God, Cat, you really have nothing better to do, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I know you do. All right. We'll tell you what, folks. I need about 10 minutes, not even. I'll be right back and we'll get our chat on. So just hang tight. I'll be right back. Link sent, Cruz. If you want to pop in, say hi to everybody, you go right ahead. All right. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Hate to move away for any length of time, but you know, that's how it kind of goes. Somebody didn't like it, obviously. So, Tim, you're probably looking for a link, are you? There's Cruz.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Doing fine. Hey, Seth, go ahead and drop me your email. I'll forward the link on to your email, to your Gmail. There's a Gmail Hangout with you and Gmail YouTube Play Store issue.
Oh, yeah. Hey, K.
Morning,
Reef.
Craig.
Morning. And hey, K. Reef, how's kids? How's wife? How's girlfriend? Whatever you want to call her. However you self-identify.
Boyfriend. That's good. I'm kidding.
It's a miracle. Anyway, yeah. So
it's not a miracle. It's a Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I made it through the week. However, did I do this? Yeah. Oh, Cruz, you'll get a kick out of it. Remember you said my mic was dropping out there yesterday and some audio issues? Figured that out.
I know you're serious by fucking day, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you got a charger for a date?
Hey, Cruz working his day job. And we all have to do that, don't we? No, we're all seem to be doing all right. Most people are having a lazy Saturday morning or afternoon, as the case may be. It's sunny in the UK in parts, I think, so we're losing a lot of our UK crowd to the sun. You know, they got to go out and get what vitamin D they can because most of the time it's just gray. It's gray over there, I'm telling you. Old foggy, as it were. My month in review is in from Google. And nothing negative. So there we go. Did you have fun with that one last night, did you, Rob? That was a little fun. Reef Jeeves and me are very like-minded, so that's definitely going to happen in there. So it's neither here nor there. I kind of look at it this way, that I run more of a talk show than anything else, right? So it's come in here, we'll talk reefing. I'll get people in here that can help you with reefing. I'll help you as best I can with it. And when it's beyond my talent, I know people with that extra oomph that I can call upon, hopefully. You know, not every day. That's life. And there's some people around here, too, that I'm definitely going to work on getting Joel back with the cuttlefish. So I'm going to talk to him and, like, you know, hey, when's the next time you're going to get a new clutch? You know, or if you're one guy that survived, and he's still surviving, I ask every day, how's he doing? That one little cuttlefish, if he keeps surviving, we'll get some better video footage, right? You know, live. You know, here he is, there he is, that's what he's doing. Because I know people are mostly enthralled with them, right? They are very, very interesting animals, right? Hey, Raven, how you doing? One of my agoraphobic, but you're not. You go out quite a lot. But homebody reefer, there we go, something like that. Yeah, moving on. No, I was just saying how everybody in the UK, the sun's out, so they're all out sun worshipping. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's not my thing. Everyone's like, don't you like to be out on a beautiful summer's day? No, I like to open the windows. It just means I can let fresh air in my house. I go out. It's like, you know, what's the image most people have of the internet junkie is a fat, amorphous blob that sits in a chair and has an opinion on everything. I'm hoping he does. He has tried, and he's a very opinionated guy. Okay, but he's got a lot of experience, so it kind of balances out. So you don't get that too much of one and not enough of the other. And he's a real mellow fella and loves talking about what he is passionate about. So that's what I'll talk to him about, right? And we'll see the other side. And I don't think it'll be so bad. You know what I mean? I like him. I like talking to him. Right? He got me into the hobby and kept me in the hobby at its worst. So. Not to mention she made a lot of money off me. I already said it once, but I'll send it again, Tim. Your wife's going to think there's a love affair. You know that, right? Just saying. I sent it again. There we go. Yeah. So I got my coffee. I got my cigarettes. Let's get some people going. And we got Cruz. Cruz is kind of working. So. But that's all right. And sorry for the basic setup, guys, but until I get a few things kind of hammered out. So we had better audio going, but the problem is this computer, even with a good power supply, cannot handle running the unit I'm using for audio. So what happens is it kind of drains out on power. It's not such a big deal when everyone is talking, but if I'm the only one talking, it tends to fade out. So, for now, we'll just keep it this way. We'll get things fixed up. Hey, Tim.
Hey, sorry about that. I didn't even look.
Morning, Da Vinci. Yeah.
I got the site going, and then I had to walk away for a minute. So I didn't even check. I just like doing a normal assumption, like he needs to send me a link. So no, it's there. It was already there. It's my fault. I didn't look. I didn't check first. So.
Yeah, it's all bad. One strike. How you doing today, buddy?
You gonna give me 3 like Paul does? That's the curse words.
Yeah. I don't know why he's concerned about that. It's not a kids channel, but
no,
that's how Paul runs his thing.
It's an inside. I think it's just a joke between him and Michael more than anything.
I actually just have a limit to it. I think I was man, the planning you have to do in reading over the terms of service, I swear I almost need a frickin' lawyer. Because I'm pretty good, but legalese does kind of get to me after a bit. And for those that don't know what legalese means, you can kind of infer what it means when you're reading a legal document, and it's just to infer that if the first party does the second party over by the third party, and the fourth party then is involved with the first party, that's lawyers don't make money because they're good at arguing. Those guys are more exceptional at it. They make money because they can read over something and actually understand what's inferred. The link still isn't working. If you want to pop in, Kay, give me your email. I'll send it to you direct, because Google Hangouts has been nothing but a bag with which one douches lately. Last 2 days, actually. And I'll catch it, and then you remove it. I'll let you know when I got it. Actually, I'll probably just remove it, so that's out quick. I have got to get Reefing with O's email and just get it from somebody else. Oh, what happened, Tim? Oh, you muted yourself. Or did you? There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I'm driving, so I don't know how much you can hear. I'm just kind of muting.
Oh, it's all right, actually. It's pretty good today.
Okay.
Yeah, some days, I'll let you know if it gets rough.
All right. Yeah, I'm on call this weekend, so I gotta go see a couple patients today.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I have to put it in the pot, get the positive spin on it. This will be this month and the next two. Will probably be the last two times I ever work any weekends or do any call. The rest of whatever life I have left, because it's over after August. So.
Are you retiring?
No, actually, I'm going to be part-time after August, but I definitely, part of that part-time will not be anything including doing anything on weekends or holidays or,
Right.
you know, those days are over, so I can pretty much dictate how much I want to do, and after that, which is fine with me.
Right. Cool.
I got to keep working to support my hobby.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, I was. Here's what's funny. So, you know, I got to move, and it's actually funnier. They have not given me an official notice, so we might actually pull a fast one on them. Speaking of legalese, and let them know that, well, you better give us an official one at the beginning of June because we don't have to leave. You did not officially kick me out. Oops. Right? Which gives me some more time to try and get that townhouse. Because we got approved. It's now just a matter of one coming available. And somebody put a little bug in my ear that there's a good chance there's one available for July 1st. So,
with the townhouse, will you be able to set the 120 up again?
Yep, because I'm able to see the floor joists. I'm able to, if wanting to, I don't think I need to, but if I want to, we might put, you know, the metal jack stands. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you pronounce that name?
It's Kohaku.
Kohaku. There we go. Okay, so that'll Kohaku. There we go.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me put the apostrophe in it.
Gotcha.
So it make a little more sense. I'm going to have to change that. Google will let me.
I don't know if it will or not. Nice setup, by the way.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at that, shall we?
I see it. No, I see it.
This is why I don't like having my my. Oh! Saw
What
that.
happened?
There we go.
What happened?
You dropped the phone.
What size tank you got?
It's a 40-gallon breeder.
I was going to say that's a breeder. I can see that 5 miles off. Nice.
O thought it was bigger whenever he saw it the other day.
Oh, well, you know, I can see that because at first it almost looked like a 75. Yeah, but it's too low.
Bigger than that. It's kind of hard to tell from the picture, but I thought it was bigger than that.
You know, so kind of topical, I guess. And we were talking about, you know, so Tim, you know, Ick is my seems to be the topic at hand with me all the time. So I get a message, and the guy talking to me, and I won't say names. I'm not out to embarrass anybody ever. But this poor guy just right from the get-go jumped in. You know that kind of reefer that just has no patience. I must have a full-blown reef that looks like the pictures on YouTube now. You know,
me?
No. You're not even as bad as this.
No, I know what you're talking about.
So he ordered something. Oh,
5
go
months
ahead.
ago.
Yeah, and you know what? And there's nothing wrong with that. That is the initial, and then you learn, and hopefully your mistakes are minor, right? You know what I mean? Like they're not the major ones. Well, he made a couple of major ones. He ordered some fish from how to put it? J&L's have fairly big online presence. They're not huge, but if you want stuff for Reef Keeper, they're the only ones you can get it from now in Canada. And it's a little wee overpriced, but you can still get it. And so on and so forth. But they do ship livestock as well, like actual fish. And he ordered, I do believe, it was a fox face. And I want to say, hold on, let's see if it was a magnificent. I can't remember if he said that. I don't want to say it was if it wasn't. Let's see here. I'll just kind of give you a thing. So, well, pretty well lost all my fish in the tank thanks to Ick, which sucks balls. A lot of money wasted. Notice the key word of what the statement is that he's worried about. It's not that he lost the fish, it's money wasted. It's like, well, you could avoid that if you hadn't thought about it, right? And I warned him that you should be quarantining these guys before they come in, you know, yada, yada, yada. This tank's only been set up the same amount of time as my 20. So what he did was take a key off of the fact that I did that, which he forgets I have the experience to do that, right? And did not, just, and I'm sure it's a few things, and I'm sure everything was the best of intentions, and it sucks that he got ick. And when he got it, I told him what he had to do. I said, here's the thing. I said, you have two choices. You can support the fish, but you have a small system. I said, so what the problem is then is when it goes explosive. Right? And he goes, what do you mean by explosive? I said, well, you got to remember, every parasite turns into 200 parasites.
Yeah.
I said, so just let's do the math.
It starts dropping off. You got a big problem.
Kaboom, right? So what you should be doing, I said, is once you start to see the marks on the fish, start pulling the fish out, get them into a quarantine. He goes, well, I got a fox face. That means I said, a 20-gallon tank will do, a 20-gallon long will keep a fox face happy for 3 months. I said, I wouldn't try to go longer, but it'll do. Right? Put some stuff. Anyway, he didn't, and now he's got what he's got, which is a huge loss, right? So now he mentions, well, I'll just have to get some more fish. And I'm like, yeah, you need to wait 3 months, though. And he's like, what? No, you don't. And I'm like, oh, my God. I'm not arguing with you, man. I'm going to tell you that's what it is. You can do the research. You don't want to listen. Your mileage may vary.
That's all.
You just learn the hard way, and unfortunately, the animal suffers.
Yeah, and that's just it. So, in this part of my country, Tim, remember I told you there's few of us. There might be, maybe I'd say in all 4 provinces on this end of the country, maybe 200 reefers. Maybe, right?
Yeah.
So that's why the market here is a little weird. It's a soft market. It's hard to get stuff, so on and so forth. So, these guys that do this, it's the I don't even know the word I'm looking for. They're like the ones who get into RC planes, and when they crash the first planes, they're out of RC planes.
It's not. It's
See you later, Rob.
Money wasted, but that's not the first thing. Oh God, I hope this never happens again. When I get ick, or when I had ick, it was like the first thing is like just that my fish are going to die. And then the second thing is, what you're going to have to go through is you got to get, if the fish don't die, and you got to get the fish out, and then you got to look at a tank for like 3 months every day. When you come home, it's going to remind you made a stupid mistake. Now you don't have any fish to look at, and it's just a just depressing feeling, if you see ick show up. And it's like, geez,
it is. Yep, it so is.
I mean, it's not the money. It's not that I don't have Woody money, but it's not the money issue. It's like, damn, it
well,
takes so long to get
some
going.
people,
Exactly.
But some people learn by getting burned by the fire. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. Good morning. Sorry.
What's up, Kurt?
Hey, how's it going, man?
And that's exactly it. That's how I learned. I got burned hard. And
I mean, we hear all this good advice sometimes, right, Craig?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, you know what? But I'm special. Even a lot of us in the hobby, that's been in for a while. Sometimes it gives us a harsh reality check. Basically it grounds us and says, you're a fucking idiot.
I mean, I'm not going to...
And you're like, holy crap.
And Cruz, look at this. I'm not going to mince words. Some of them need to be out of the hobby because they're the kind of person that's never going to learn. They're going to do things their way, and there's nothing wrong with it, but except the husbandry is a little lacking. It's like, don't keep fish. I know a guy, all he's got is coral, and he's the happiest guy you've ever seen. That's all he's got in his tank, right? He's got a couple of... Yeah, exactly. And he's just got a couple of select, like he's got a 6-line. Well, a 6-line by himself in the tank just has a job to do, right? You know what I mean? And little things like that. And he's super happy. And he's like, well, your clown's fighting. Doesn't that bother you? And I went, yeah, they do that. I said, what would I do in the wild? Separate them and go, you guys need to get along, like...
No. They go to Disneyland.
Shake hands.
Having that ever after. Yep.
I actually... Did you guys see the footage yet of the poor kayaker in Australia getting attacked by the great white shark?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know how bad it was.
A couple of them.
Yeah, he was. He got picked up by a sailboat that was going by, and there wasn't a lot of that catastrophic injury we're talking about, where the water's red with your death. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the lacerations.
Yeah, you know, that like it hit something major, but I'm going to bet that there's a lot of poop involved in the shorts. And if,
Well,
you
that's
know,
why that's why the shark stopped eating him.
I go, yeah. Oh, I hit a long pig. Yeah, I hit a long pig.
Yeah, when you shart yourself, that typically signals the other animals to go away until you're totally dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he can hope. Anyway, that was it. So I'm going to see if I can get some more info. But it was just like, there's like, you know, there's YouTube rules regarding that. I'm sure that video won't stick around forever. But thankfully, it wasn't graphic. It really was just more like, you know, somebody was screaming. The guy put the camera up. The wife's got the camera up, or sorry, the husband's got the camera up. He's telling the wife on her phone to call 911. You know, their emergency services, right? And they're explaining. He goes, "Yeah, okay. You're how long out? Oh my God, I don't think this guy's got this time." You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I don't think 10 minutes when you got a great white shark barreling down on you is happening, right? So he just got lucky. So I'm going to see if I can find more info, because I've always been fascinated that, you know, how we accept things where we live. You know, like in Australia, there are so many things that can kill you. I lost count. I lost count at, I think it was 42 different animals that can kill you. You know what I mean? Let's think about that for a second. I live in New Brunswick, Canada. The only thing that can kill me here is a moose, bear, and a deer, and that's only because the other two. And the cold, and the environmental conditions, right? So, you know, unlike Tim, who lives in, where is it, El Paso, Texas, I think there's 19 venomous rattlesnakes in your area. Yeah. 19 different kinds. Good luck, Tim. Not counting death stalkers.
And not talk. Yeah, or YouTube stalkers, or
YouTube stalkers,
or
Gila monsters.
I might have.
Yeah, or ex-wives.
Ex-wives, yeah. Ex-lovers. You know.
After dropping some comments lately, I might have to watch for stalkers. I'm like, I'm on somebody's guest list.
But why?
I just don't know when to keep my mouth shut.
But
you know,
why?
Well, you know what? At least you didn't do it on 4chan or LolSec, and your credit rating's now slashed. So.
Whoa. Yeah. True.
You know, it comes down to this, right? If you leave a comment, and I've said this before, and it's polite or not. What's the word I'm looking for? As long as, even if it's not, as long as you don't say anything derogatory about me or someone else, right? And when I say derogatory, I mean about me. It's got to be quite pointed, right? I'll leave it. But if it's for the sake of, I'm a bell end. Yep, great. There we go. I'm leaving that
one. There I go. I'm banned.
That's it. Stream's over.
Yeah, we're done.
Game over, Kohaku. I'm sorry. I'll see you guys later.
By the way,
I was having a good.
By the way, I deleted the comment. So
I know. I wouldn't, but that's me.
No, but I just felt bad. You know, I thought, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that on his. So I just.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Don't feel bad about what you said, because the simple fact, that's how you felt, right? And how you feel about something.
Moment. It wasn't the moment, but I told you before. You know, I've told you before. Sometimes I say things, and I don't mean. I say things to people I like, you know, a lot, you know, and then 5 minutes later I go, damn, I shouldn't have said it that way, or I could have done that better. I could have said it or something, you know.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
People can talk their mind. Why can't you?
Yeah, I just didn't want to. I just don't want to.
If those people can yell at you, why can't you yell back?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that comes down to personality. It really does.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Well, Hakas, thanks for having your tank up, because it's killing me that I can't put mine up. I'll get around that at some point. Yeah. Oh, I found out what was going on with my audio crews. The old computer, the USB just can't keep the power going. So even with a good power supply, the USB section's a little lacking. So I'm sitting here going, I got a way around that. I know exactly how to get around that, but I'll have to work with my tech guy. Possibly, something like that, or a power brick.
With the 4-pin, you should be able to get more power, or the 2-pin.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sitting there going, we'll see. Or a better cord.
Cool.
There's a couple of things. So, and if not, I mean, it's only going to be a few weeks of crap for me. So I'll keep this audio going for now because it works well. But I will be able to get the video part working correctly, like I was telling you. We're going to do some fancy work. And basically what it would be is this one's running the Hangout, and the other one will be running my actual Streamlabs for now until I get my rig. Even when I get my rig back, like I said, guys, I promise this. When I'm all set up in my new place and we have some stuff in place and we're running it, I'll tour what it actually takes to stream that way. And then I thought, well, maybe I should keep it a secret. Why the hell would I keep it a secret? All the stuff is free. You can figure this stuff out. Oh, but you need to have a tech weenie working behind the scenes like I do. Haha.
Yeah.
Well, that ain't never going to happen.
Oh, you're going to give out your secret sauce?
Sorry? What was that?
You're going to give out your secret sauce?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know. Oh, crap. Come on, guys.
Dude, bro, it's just Thousand Island.
Thousand Islands. Yeah. No. That's French.
By Paul, Paul Newman.
Ketchup mixed together.
It's Paul Newman's Thousand Island Ranch.
I will, because I just don't. All I know about tech stuff is I usually do enough to mess myself up. So I'm not. There's no way I'm ever gonna, do a lot of what you do, Craig. But so I'm just gonna I'm going to send you donations occasionally just to keep streaming.
Keep it going.
I don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it. We'll let Craig do it. I'm the Mikey of live streams, right?
You do it. I'll just come.
I ain't gonna do it. Let's let Craig do it. Craig will do anything.
Well, yeah. Call yourself the Coral Broadcasting Station. CBS.
Well, Rob, that's the great thing about Australians versus the British. Australians and the British love taking the piss out of themselves. Love it, right? When humor is now censored, that's when things are bad, right? People don't understand that. No matter what it is, I should be able to make a joke and even go too soon. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? It's like, and don't apologize. Like Kathy Griffin for that Donald Trump moment, I couldn't believe that she apologized. Absolutely. Could not believe she apologized for that.
That's a Canadian tactic. I'm kidding.
No. It would have been fine if she did Canadian Kung Fu and then she's walking away. I hope that fucking makes him happy and fucking motherfucker. Right? Yeah, Canadian Kung Fu, right? I apologize, but I'm still going to fucking talk trash about you.
Oh,
she's here we go.
She's what, Tim?
Never mind.
No, it's okay not to like her, Tim. Yeah.
I didn't like her before. It didn't matter how many times she apologized. It was the way you apologize for.
He's being censored automatically. You went robotic there, bud.
Okay. Nothing.
You know what? We can agree. She's not. I don't think she's a good lead funny. She's a good supporting funny. Right? So when she's kind of on her own, I don't find her as funny. But when she's in a good cast, she's great. It's like Andy Dick. He's another one. I can't stand him on his own, but when he's a good supporting character, he's great. Yeah. Just my opinion. Okay. You can disagree with it if you want. Yeah.
No, just back to
Tim, give me the Canadian Kung Fu. Me. Yeah. That's all good, man.
No, just let me. I didn't know where you're at, Craig. No, I make an assumption about where you're at. I really don't know. But if you really knew me, you know that I am this extremely conservative person, and I ain't got time, So, but I can get.
So what you're telling me is Jim Carrey, when he did the anti-Charlton Heston song, really pissed you off. Right. Even I'll be honest, he did that, and I just sort of went, ooh, yeah. No, go ahead, Tim.
Trump, though, is he just sticks in there bad. He just sticks in their gall so bad, that sometimes I start to get mad at them, and I just laugh. I go, "You people, this is exactly what you deserve for a long freaking time, you know." So there, have it. And I just hate him so badly. It's just sometimes it's just amazing what they say. So anyway, okay, let's go back to the
And
food.
exactly. No, that's fine. And it just goes to the topic at hand. We're not going to talk politics. The hell with that. This is reefing. Politics and reefing. The only thing we should be talking about. I'll tell you, Cruz, I still can't find anything official from Indonesia saying that they banned anything. There's one letter floating around on Reef to Reef that says it's from the government of Indonesia, and I'm going, why is it in English?
I didn't read that, so I don't know if anybody read it.
It was a
Hold on, Tim.
Too, and I'll explain it to you. It was a translation to the collectors, to some of the American and English speaking collectors. Does that make sense?
Yep. Nope. Okay. So yeah. And it still was vague. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
so I'm like,
because something's lost in translation.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody knows exactly what's going on right now. It could be that they've done a temporary ban. That's what it looks like again. I know that.
But they were talking about it in January, that they're going to go ahead and limit the amount of freaking corals getting exported, and to who? Because right now, all the local people are going out there trying to freaking not farm coral, but collect coral.
Collect coral, yeah. Because I know Walt Smith's the big one over there, isn't it?
Yeah,
he is.
USI, yeah.
Hey, I'm going to put this on mute. I'll be back in a few minutes, guys.
Sounds good. Sounds good, Tim.
So, yeah, I know that they banned, the coral skeleton collecting.
Yeah.
But doesn't a coral have a coral skeleton?
Right. So you can infer that anything that has a skeleton currently is banned. So.
Correct.
So softies only, but we're talking about removing zoas as well, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and there was an anemone ban as well.
And an anemone ban, yeah.
An anemone.
Anemones, yeah.
Anemone?
Yeah.
Bitty bitty.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Excuse me. So, yeah, it's one of those things. Like I went looking, and as far as an official statement to any outlet, there's nothing. There's just what's on Reef to Reef. I can't find anything else that's saying anything about this, right? So I'm like, okay.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like over there in Aussie, right?
Yeah.
Over there in Oz, there's a group that is the collectors, and they're saying everything is fine. We just have to go out further. And I'm like, say what? We just have to collect further out from shore, or a little bit deeper. So it's kind of like the whole oil thing again. Remember?
Yeah, I do.
Oh yeah, we're just going to drill here. Oh, but we need to go further out and drill deeper.
And we'll just pass that along to the consumer. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know. I don't know if that's conservation. I don't know whether or not they're responsible. I mean, do they even know what they're doing other than just freaking cutting branches off? I mean, if that was the case, then I'm freaking when I prune my tree, I'm freaking, conserving my tree.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the entire forest of trees, because I clipped the branch on my tree. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It's Walt Smith's really trying to do things right way, from what I can tell. You got to remember that over in exactly. You got to remember that in this game, all these local collectors, this is their livelihood. These guys don't make a lot of money. Like, they were going on in 2016 that they're still cyanide fishing.
Yeah,
right?
They still are.
And they still are.
They can.
You got it.
Whenever they can.
So you got to remember that it's not Walt Smith that's going out and doing this, because they know better. And they also know, but they're paying for these fish that are coming in this way. So it's this weird problem that they have that go ahead.
See, I've been at work where they go, oh yeah, are you following the rules? Yes, I am. While the boss is there, you follow the rules. When the boss isn't there, then what?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Who's watching?
Who's
right.
Watching?
Yeah, everyone's different.
You know, it's like I said to one guy, you can expect the average fish to survive in your tank 20 years. But here's the problem. If that fish was cyanide, right, you know, and collected that way, your mileage is going to vary. It really depends how much is now stuck in that fish's liver. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole host of variables. Like if you look it up, and it's like, I get it, you know, and on top of that, it just is toxic as hell to corals. Right? Because it doesn't matter how much volume of water we're talking about. If you actually look at how much cyanide it takes to kill you, what would we call it? Like bycatch is almost what it is. They go in, they squirt this to stun the fish. That hangs around that coral for 20, 30 minutes. That's more than enough time to kill that coral off. Yeah. Right? So
it's what we call dwell. Yeah, it's what we call dwell time.
There we go, dwell time. Thank you. Yeah, and exactly that, right? So, you know, we get it. We don't want that. Of course we don't, right? Are you willing to pay more for the fish for that? I am. Yep. You know what I mean? I absolutely don't give a shit.
I would much rather get 20 years and have a healthy fish than have an easily caught fish that, I mean, we're not only doing damage to the fish itself for life, but we're affecting the coral in and around that area. And I mean, you have that one coral that got hit and he's going to be sitting there with the cyanide on him for about 30 minutes, and then everything else is, and it's going to affect the corals around it.
Right.
It's
so you get this
one coral.
It's all the wildlife that also lives there, and all the other stuff. You know, like so. Exactly. No, you got it, man. And that's really where the problem is, and that's what Indonesia is trying to crack down on. Is that, and it is. It's plain and simple. There was so much backlash when National Geographic did that special on it. Not special. What am I saying? It was in one of their mags, right? And they love taking the piss out of this hobby. I swear to God, that's their one goal. They couldn't give a crap about anybody who's doing good stuff. You know, who's mariculturing, aquaculture. They don't even talk about that. Everything's negative from their end. That anybody who's dealing with the ocean, we shouldn't be there. And I'm sitting there going, you realize that you listen to yourself? You know, every major civilization has fished.
Yep.
Well, it wasn't the same.
Yeah, it wasn't for ornamental purposes.
Right. You know, so we ate it. So it's okay if we eat it then? Well, guess what? I'm not going to eat the yellow tang, but I'll eat this tuna. Are you good with that? You know what I mean? Like, you know, and that's just it. And it's going to be this constant bickering. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, but tangs do taste good, though. You know what I'm saying?
If you get a big one.
They are a food fish.
They are.
For a lot of locals.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they grow to probably about 5-6 inches. So bigger than a pomfret. You know what I'm saying? There's enough meat.
Right. I mean, I know they get quite large. I'd never really thought about consuming them.
Apparently, Soul Hall tang is delicious. Apparently.
Oh, it is. The meat is so firm.
Yeah,
white,
exactly.
light and flaky. Oh, light and flaky, baby.
Think of it like albacore. Albacore tuna, same kind of meat. Yeah. So. But you know, and here we are talking. So again, I eat my fish sticks in front of my fish tank. Going, could be you. You know, like, you know, it's.
Yeah.
When it comes to conservation, that's where like I love where Yavo was going, and I understood it. It's the fact that you got to remember that politics, it's a different animal about that. That's totally different. You got to remember that these countries are impoverished. They have big issues.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Right?
Yep.
You know, Jakarta.
Yep.
You know.
They had what is that called? That friggin' volcano that exploded over there.
Oh, I don't remember. Oh, look at this. Phone's gonna ring as a.
Yeah. Yep. Do you know what I'm saying? The Krakatoa?
Not much. What's up?
Yeah, they had.
You're all done?
Yeah, that.
Get out. Okay, fair enough.
Get it. Get out.
Yeah, no. Wife's done work that quick, guys. That's slow season. That's slow season for you, right? So, yeah. I bet you the new training class everybody called in Friday sick, we call it. So it's Saturday, right? You know, went out partying there a little too much last night, guys. You know.
Yep.
So All right, so I'm going to leave you guys in here for a minute. I literally am going to be a minute. I'll go grab her and come home. So it's going to. She literally is 2 minutes up the road. Be right back.
All right, sounds
Uh,
So Seth, what's going on, buddy?
well, it looks like I'm getting a little bit more consumption, but I just tested the salinity on the tank like 4 different times. I'm getting several different readings. I'm getting everything from 1.025 and then like 1.0232 or lower. I'm trying to get a consistent look. I don't know why salinity would have dropped that much. I haven't had any like evaporation spikes or anything like that to my knowledge.
Gotcha.
But
let me think.
so KH is
you
down
have a regular
from 9 to 0.7. Calcium's from 430 down to 400. Magnesium is at 1360.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. So I have a refractometer. It's just I've never had it give me multiple readings like this before. I normally test it 2 or 3 times and get, I'll get 0.025, 0.026, 0.025 or something like that. I've never had the swing as bad as it is right now.
Weird. Did your auto top off?
Has it kicked on recently? That's what I'll just test from the end cycle of the system. So it's farthest away from where that would come in.
Yeah. Well, test. You could also stick your hand in and take a sample from mid water column.
Yeah, I've got a pretty long pipette.
Pipette. Okay. And then you squirt it into a cup, right? And then you do your test.
No, I'm going right into the refractometer from there.
What kind of refractometer do you have? Just
ATC. I got it off of Amazon. Yeah, it just says the box is portable refractometer.
It's not the electronic one, though, right?
No. All right. For the 5th time, I'm at 0.025.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say I'm good, and it's not low.
Yeah, I would double check to see whether or not your freaking your your lens is moving on the inside.
Yeah, you're talking about calibrated again?
No, not calibrated again. If you shake it, if it's loose, shift.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I mean, parameters and everything look just fine. pH is starting to sit in and around. It sits most of the day at 8.03 to 8.08.
Okay.
But I've noticed right around noon when the blues kick on, or when it drops back down to blues, it tends to drop down into the 7.9 range. That's also right as my algae turf scrubber is kicking on as well. So I might have that kick on like half an hour before it is now to see if I can prevent that swing.
Gotcha. Are you utilizing some type of aeration other than your skimmer?
Yeah, a bubble.
Okay. And you're grabbing it from fresh air, right? From a fresh air location.
I have it running all the way around my house.
Gotcha. I mean, it's part of the troubleshooting, you know what I'm saying, to see whether or not you are holding up CO2. So it's not a permanent, that's where it's going to be, because I know women, they get annoyed by tubes running around for some reason.
You can't even see them. I have it butt up to the baseboards of the house.
Yeah.
She didn't even notice until one day, like it's going out the bottom of the door right now, because eventually I need to get up in the attic and run it that way, because I already have cords running that way. I just haven't gotten up there to do that, but yeah, it's about 30. I'd say it's probably about 30 feet away from the tank total.
Okay.
And
you're getting decent
you can see
pressure
the
out
tank now. As far as what's on screen, this is what it looks like with your recommended light schedule and height.
Okay, give me a sec. You had zip ties, right?
Yeah.
Ha, I love zip ties.
Zip ties are awesome. I didn't even think about that. Problem is, if the wife sees zip ties hanging from the ceiling, she's not going to like it too much.
But just tell her it's temporary until you could actually run to the store and grab some chain links or whatever. I can't see your screen.
Oh, it's because it's for some reason on my testing stuff. I think I'm not in the right section. Hang on one second. Let's go back to. Gmail, YouTube, Hangouts. Did I just get kicked out? Or is he there?
Nope, you're still there. I'm still here.
Camera.
I'm with you, buddy.
All right.
Trying to dial your tank in.
Yeah, man, it's already doing so much better after removing that one bracket that's been causing me so much issue with the rust and stuff. Or at least I'm assuming, because I removed that and everything started doing a lot better, but I haven't done, the follow-up ICP test to confirm that I have in fact removed those.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, in all emergencies, that product called poly filter, and it has all the resins on it. It's like that crusty stuff. Yeah.
All right. Can you see that now?
Yes. Yeah. How are things responding to just that light increase?
I don't see too much of a difference. Usually my indicator is that torch that's on the right side of the rock structure. It usually tells me whether it's my lighting test coral.
Yep, that's what we utilize.
He's a little bit more open.
He's a little bit more open.
A little bit. Let's see, the Duncan that's in the back was a little bit more open as well.
Okay, excellent.
The only thing, as far as like personal preference, the only thing I don't like about having it at this height is I cut a lot of the lighting down on either side, which is the problem with the 40-gallon breeders, because they don't fit in the 2-foot. If it was a 2-foot by 2-foot tank, it'd be awesome, but I'm losing 6 inches on either side of.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let me think. There's no way to get another light.
So you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Is there any way that you'd be able to get another? Oh.
Is he still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Hello? Test. Hello? Kohaku. Hello? Did I lose you? Hello? 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 It's me.
Did I get muted?
I don't know. You lost audio. Good morning, Lisa. It's not easy. Can you hear me, Kohaku? Okay.
I got booted out.
It switched, right? It switched your audio feed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does that to me too when I jump in my car. It wants to freaking grab the freaking Bluetooth there.
Yeah, it does that to me every single time. It's actually kind of frustrating when I'm listening to you guys while I'm working, because I have to travel back and forth between my office and going to the warehouse. And I have to fight with it every time I get them out of the car. I wish there was some way to like just give it permissions or restrict it from bouncing back and forth.
Yep, absolutely. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna freaking disable my freaking Bluetooth in my car. It's annoying. I need to change the mic. I need to change the microphone on the freaking on the car, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm back.
It seems like the noise canceling wants to noise cancel everything.
Yeah, that's the trick. Yeah, that's the trick. Oh.
I'm back.
We're all back. There we go.
If I can just get my screen to stay standing up with my little janky stand that I made out of a cardboard box.
Can you hear me, guys?
There we go. We can hear you fine. Or seem to. Anyway, oh, went over again, buddy. Oh, you're making a stand out of a box. That's awesome. I tried that. It works for a little while. Yeah, go to Best Buy.
I actually use one at work all the time because they won't give me a freaking cell phone stand for some reason. We have all these promotional products and like, they're just sitting around. They want like most of the all the management has them, right. But none of the staff are allowed to have any of the nice things that we give out for free to customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of
they
those.
They give us the pens to have our logo.
Really?
Yeah.
That's marketing 101. More the better.
Yep. Should be.
Should be.
Work for a German company. They can be tempted.
Yeah, sometimes they can. Morning, Lisa. Morning, Tina. Morning, Reef. Morning, everybody. So I got interrupted, and we were talking about the ornamental fish trade out of coral trade out of Indonesia there, and I think right now there's nothing more to really say till we get more information, because right now it is really sparse.
And it's speculation.
And it's a lot of speculation, right? Because there's nothing official from the government to the public at all. And it's it's what it is, right? And I'll tell you, it's one of those things that I don't think all it's going to do is drive prices up, and it's going to drive aquaculture to a bigger pace. Okay, so really, in all honesty, it's not as bad as you think. It's just some fish are going to get a lot more expensive, right? And they already are. When Hawaii did their temporary ban for, 3 months? They drove the price of yellow tangs up 100%.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Or double. Let's call it double. Not call it 100%. It was, it was not 100% more, because that would be $500 a fish, but it was double, right? Because it went from $49.99 to $99.99 almost overnight, and it will never come back down. I guarantee it.
That's 100% increase.
That is 100%. That's 100%.
That may not be super bad because of all the tangs into 20-gallon tanks.
Well, I mean,
they're there for life.
Correct. Well, you remember what I was saying the other day? I think I was speaking to somebody on the stream. When you put such a low price on a fish, many people don't care about it.
Right, they lose the value in it. They lose the value of the coral, losing understanding the value of a dollar. Learning the value of the dollar when you get it. And thinking money when you're because all you really want is the $3 candy or whatever when you're there.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, Kohaku is going. Kohaku. There we go. Went a little robotic there. I turned you down, Tim, and not muting you. His road noise is getting a little high. So yeah, when you think about it this way, even I'm guilty of. I'm going to try some SPS in my tank. I buy the cheapest frag I can buy, generally about $10 to $15. Put it in my tank, and then see what happens. Because until I can make that one survive, nothing more expensive is going in there. And I guess in a way I'm doing the smart thing, but it's still kind of devaluing that coral.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Exactly. And well, no, you hit the nail on the head, Craig. And I was agreeing is for some reason we associate dollar value with value of that species. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So, what you remember when clownfish were only $10?
Yep,
right?
I sure do.
And that was what we utilized to cycle our tank.
Yeah.
Clowns and damsels.
Back in the day. Yep. Clowns, damsels. Now you get these $50, $60, $80, $100, $200 freaking clowns. Do you want to go ahead and cycle the tank with it? No.
No. Did BRS utilize clownfish to cycle their ULM tanks they're working on right now?
Oh, absolutely. Because they are very, very hardy.
Yeah. Right. And I did too.
They are very
my
hardy.
20-gallon, I put 2 clowns worth $100 in my tank. Do you think I want them to die? So what did I do? Much extra care was taken to make sure that I had a safe cycle where things did what they were supposed to do at much lower levels so that things get started versus what most people used to do, which is throw a damsel in the tank and do nothing. Just wait for it to happen.
And let it die.
Yeah,
That's
or let
what
it turn into the meanest thug in your tank.
Yeah.
Because it had a rough upbringing.
Yeah. So to speak, yeah, it's brain damaged. Right? It's got ammonia burning in its gills, and it's got, all the other byproducts of that in its system. Yeah, of course it's going to be a nasty fish. Yeah. You got to look at it from the point of view of this. Think about our hobby in just dollar value, right? So how come you place less value on something because it's cheaper, right? I know people who love softies. Okay, Kenya tree, pulsing xenia, and I know Tina's going to think I'm talking about her. It's not just you I'm talking about. I know lots of people with soft tanks, lots, and they love them, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't look at a tank full of sticks and go ooh and ah. I mean, it's pretty, and I appreciate it for what it is. That's not even my tank. I'm much more of a mixed reef, LPS, some softies, right? But my softies are much more high value, that we call it, Napthea Palau. These finger leathers that are much different and actually not as hardy. You know what I mean? Like they don't take dirty water as well. That kind of thing.
Yeah. 286 6285.
I know your credit card number now. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, we got his credit card number, everybody.
Yeah.
You want my PIN number also? Sorry.
I'm just going to hop on your website, buy a bunch of your corals for your own money.
With your own money.
Ray.
Money.
Areas.
Money. So, yeah. So
ARIAS.
Your Kenya tree went bye-bye. Did you remove it from the system?
702-286-6285.
You guys' phone number now. Wow.
Yep. Give me a call. Give me a text.
Yeah.
Cruz, hook me up with that the social security number too.
Okay. 555-5555.
Date of birth, social security.
Yeah, we just need it all, man. Come on.
I can get the date of birth. You just as long as it's right on Facebook, isn't it?
There we go. Papa needs a new power supply. Come on.
I need an Apex and all the attachments.
I don't support it. Sorry.
No. You know what's really funny is that I really am excited to see CJ, Mad Hatter, and those guys using that e-coral controller.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's cheaper, guys. Jesus Christ. Fuck, everybody just left on it. I hope it's cheaper. Why? Why would you want a cheaper electronic device on your tank?
Correct.
Somebody has got one and they're already using it? Somebody's got one and they're using it on their tank already?
I think CJ was really close to setting it up last night. I'm not going to say it's set up now. It could be.
He said he was going to set it up sometime this week, maybe next weekend.
Maybe there you go. So he was giving us an unboxing.
He was tempted to.
He was tempted, yeah.
Yeah, he was tempted to get the party rolling. And
do you guys call 35 millimeter plugs RCAs down there?
What?
No, we call them 35 millimeter plugs.
Yeah, because last night somebody was calling them RCAs, and I'm sitting there going, they're 35 millimeter plug, tip ring sleeve, right? And double ring. So input, output, right? You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. But that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
right, so I have a controller question for you guys.
Sure.
So just as far as, I guess, consumer side of things, I'm running right now the Reefkeeper Lite.
Okay, that's what I run.
The only thing I want out of the Reefkeeper Lite that it doesn't provide, as far as I can tell, is the actual like long-term tracking of things like pH or salinity, just so I can see the graph rather than it being only when I'm able to look at it.
Well, I mean, it does it every 48 hours.
Yeah.
So you should be able to do a screenshot, if you know what I'm talking about, and just save it into
and save it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, save it to your computer.
Using the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you would do is
I haven't hooked it up to the computer since I set it up.
Right.
Oh.
So you would have to. Yeah. See, that's it. That's where they failed. When they made their net module for you to easily hook up to it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and it was really complicated and whatnot. But if you just hook in, just take the cord, hook in, and go in and just, if you want to track it, like say, that's the problem. You'd have to do it every other day. Boom.
Yeah.
Get a screenshot. Boom. Get a screenshot, and then you can put it together yourself. Right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's where Apex won. That's where they absolutely took over the market because they did it for you. Right?
Right.
So I really use mine as a glorified switching station. My lights come on and off when I want them to, and it checks my, when I had the temp probe before it burned out, it tracked my temperature, right? And even then, it's only an average because everyone, I don't know why they don't think, you got to calibrate that thing, right? You got to stick it in your tank and, make a mean average off of 3-4 thermometers and do some math and say that this is roughly what the temperature is, and you're still technically wrong. Unless you buy a really expensive thermometer, you don't know what the true temp of that tank is.
Hey, yeah.
Yep.
But as long as it's so.
No, did anybody watch?
Matter as long as you're able to see the trend. I mean, let's say it's your pH probe or your temperature probe is saying it's 78 degrees in the tank, but it's really 76. But as long as that trend stays the same, and the it doesn't. It's relative.
Exactly. That's what we were trying to explain to X one day about his pick a test kit and stick with it.
Yep.
Right? Don't use 5 different kits. And just a sec, Tim, what were you saying?
No, we were talking about control. Now I have an Apex, and I like it for certain things that I can do with it. But anybody watched the ultra low maintenance on BRS yesterday? And he's telling you how to do all these things with the Apex, how to code this for when you get all kind of alarms. You can set up all kind of stuff. You can go in with this code when this is that and that is this and this is that. I'm telling you, now I got an Apex. I'm about halfway through, and I go, "That's enough for me." Maybe it's just been a long day, but that's
a lot of people. A lot of people
I put TMI. I've got out of here.
Yeah, and they don't even. How often do you calibrate your probes, Tim?
Not often enough. To be honest with you.
Do you do it at least once a month?
No, I don't. I'll be honest.
I'm probably once
every 3 or 6 months, probably. To be real honest with you.
And that's fine, right? But the thing is knowing that's going to swing off, right? Those probes do need to be calibrated generally monthly, right? Just to be super accurate. Yeah. We don't need to deal in super accuracy. We kind of need to deal in mean averages. So, hopefully it doesn't swing out too far. That's all, right? But take it if the reading's bad. Take that reading with a grain of salt. Treat it accordingly. Calibrate the probe. Put it back in. See if it's still bad. If it's still bad, you got a problem.
But it's like not only can you. Yeah, I have Apex. I know I got my temp probe, and I got the heaters on it, so I know if it blows up or if it stops working or if it starts to go, the Apex will shut it down. It won't let it go too high. And but then there's alarms there that say how much voltage or how much wattage or how much amps you're using. That would be probably because of this is happening. So with the Apex, you can get it to do this and that. And I'm going, Jesus, Ryan, I'm not. I can't. You lost me there. I'm not going there. I'm not going to set up an alarm for every time my tank farts. I don't want. I don't want an alarm. There's just too much. I mean,
it's like yesterday. Were you in yesterday when somebody asked me to explain ORP, and I basically took the scientific explanation of it and then kind of tried to translate it best I could. And I almost would say the number one reason to have the ORP probe in your tank is if you're doing anything with hydrogen peroxide or anything that can do a reduction in ORP, and to give you hopefully a warning if you're getting hydrogen sulfide building up and leaking out, because that's going to reduce your ORP. That's going to take the tank down, or excess CO2, that kind of thing. That's what it's for. At least in the way I understand it, right?
Yeah, so. Cruz wasn't here yesterday. It's just one of those things where, it's just like now I'm messing around a lot with the tank because I got the new setup, and I look at my Apex and there's an ORP, and I'm going, I don't even, you're just thinking as you're working sometimes, you go, what the hell's ORP? What, why don't I have a ORP probe? What the hell? It's just something that doesn't get mentioned very much, and I think that's why I brought it up. I go, what the hell is ORP?
They for some reason DO, dissolved oxygen, and ORP are underrated in the reefing hobby.
Yep.
They don't get it. They don't see the value in it. And I'm like, a lot of people have their houses closed up during the summer and during the winter. So, you're retaining all this metabolic gas. I mean, don't tell me that you don't go home and you don't fart. You know what I'm saying?
Homeless where you can fart, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, dude, if you have a family of 6, that's 6 times the gas. Especially
plus pets.
Taco nut. Yeah, plus pets and also the reef tank. I'm sure on taco night everything smells great, right?
Right. Taco morning, not so much.
Yeah. Taco morning.
The aftermath. Yeah.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? You don't have taco night and then tacos for breakfast the next day?
Sure.
Yeah. I had fajitas last night. Guess what I'm having for lunch? I'm having fajitas.
Fajitas.
Hey man, you take the fajitas,
but you know
the
what?
insides, add some eggs, and you got breakfast.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So people undervalue it, and that's where the advanced reefing starts to come in.
Yeah.
And you get to that point, right? And I know people that have something in the works to speak to that. So
that's where bubbling was supposed to have been the crossover. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Where you actually start looking at your gases because you're no longer looking at your water.
Yeah.
Because your water should be fine already, stable and everything else. Then you start getting into dissolved gases. Do you know what I'm saying? And I could not, some people just can't break through to it. They don't understand that gases affect water chemistry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes perfect.
So, I mean, imagine you have flat soda. You add more CO2 to it. You add the right, you add that tingly feeling, right? The carbonation. So imagine, very, very, very simply and not as strong, but the CO2 is remaining in your tank.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get it out? And everyone says, "Oh, I got the answer. It's called flow." And I'm like, "No, not quite.
No, not really.
It'll help, but it's not.
Yeah, it'll degas, but it doesn't add oxygen back in. Unless the environment around it is lower in CO2 than the water.
Yep.
And we all know that, at 900 ppm on average, 800, 900 ppm of CO2 can actually pull down a tank, probably about a point.
Yep.
Right. Speaking of that, Cruz, since you can see my tank live, I'm going to turn on the bubbling and see if I've got it correct as far as size of bubbles and amount.
I'm just kidding. I haven't seen it yet.
It hasn't even started.
Yeah.
All right, it's starting to go now.
Sorry, I'm on the road right now.
Oh, no worries.
It looks
Home Depot.
roughly what I'm doing, Kohaku. I'm going to just call you Koha. There we go.
Works for me.
Yeah, that's about what I do. And it was really funny. My flow from my return pump, we need to have a bunch of donation runs with me because I so need to replace that pump. Yeah. I'm just looking at it going, yeah, that's good for putting water back in the tank. But as far actual.
Can you show me where your air stone is, buddy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Let me turn on the light. So the air stone is on this side of the baffle. Goes in and.
Okay, and only the fine bubbles are making it to the other side, right?
Right.
I would probably say you need to raise that up a little because you're getting a bit of the. You're getting the foggy, misty. It's hard to tell on here, but.
Actually, I would put it in the baffle.
In between. I'd actually put it.
You got higher laminar. Yeah, you got higher flow, higher laminar flow.
Yeah.
There it goes.
There you go.
See how it's going all misty looking on the right side now? It's very fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Looks good, man.
Yeah.
And then you should see like very, very light. And then over the next 30, 40 minutes, and you could run it anytime during the day when you see that sag. You could actually put it on a timer to turn on at that time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, to watch the pH table.
Mm-hmm. Yep, to get rid of that valley. You want to minimize the valleys.
Right.
See the difference in the bubble texture?
Yeah, and the main display, it's starting to
get misty, huh? Like the foggy haze. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you were talking about switching out or getting a new return pump. I've got a JBL 6000. I'm probably going to change out from our 4000 just to get some extra umph in it.
Get some push. Yeah, get some push in it.
Yeah, I'm running all 1-inch tubing, and I've got the rain and flow generators on it, and I think I need a little bit more flow going through it to do what it's supposed to do.
All right. No, it looks good. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. It's I'm not stressed by the tank anymore.
Mm-hmm.
which would defeat the purpose of having the tank in the first place.
Yes, sir. It's supposed to relax you.
It's supposed to relax me. It's supposed to give me something to think about that's, constructive instead of all the other negative stuff that could be going on. Or
exactly. And you don't need to be yelled at. Like I was telling Tim, you don't need people to yell at you. To give suggestions. You know what I'm saying? It's not a right way or a wrong way. You notice that I didn't tell you to restructure your whole entire friggin' tank, that you need to change your rock work, that you need to do a water change. Because you're doing, I want to say a lot of people are doing 80 to 90% correct. All they need is a little bit of chiropractic moments to straighten things out. That's it. Just a chiropractic moment.
Very, very, very true. I knew I was close. I mean, the fact that I've been able to keep everything alive, even with with the heavy metals in the tank, and I want to say they're gone, but I'm only saying that because everything is doing better.
There is a way to do that. I will speak to that privately. I am not going to publicly talk about that one anymore. Okay, because it is.
Aside from ICP tests, there's no way, in my knowledge, to do that.
Yeah, ICP tests the only way to know for sure, but there is something you can do that you can strip those out. Right, and it must be done carefully.
Yeah, I do.
What do you use?
Filter. I use
Polyfilter works. Yeah.
Yeah, the poly pad, the polyfilter pad, the actual one with once again the crusty stuff all over it.
The one that actually it does ammonia and it's kind of a catch-all pad, right?
Yep, exactly. When
in a blue
something that
package.
we don't know. Yep, and it costs $32.
What?
You know, for the big 12 by 12 sheet.
Oh, for the 12 by 12. I was going to say, guess what? I can get the small sheets here for $7. I bought like 12.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But you know what I'm talking about. For larger systems, we have larger flow over volumes and larger weirs and larger, you know,
everything,
spillovers. So we need 12 by 12s so that we can bridge it.
Yep.
I have a tendency to remove to prevent having to add anything chemically to the tank that's outside of like your calcium alkalinity, magnesium, which should be dosed. I'm not trying to, for the most part, I'm not trying to dose anything that's
right.
Not yet. You're not
well,
there yet.
Tell you what, since I got crews here, I'll kind of explain what I did to strip some stuff out. You have a very small volume of water, okay? You got 40 gallons, and how much is you have the sump, and how much is in your sump? How much?
And it's a 20-gallon long.
Right.
I made some math errors whenever I was building the tank.
Right.
So I think it runs with maybe like
gallons?
10 or 11 gallons.
10 or 11 gallons. We'll call it 10, right?
Right.
What you can do is I got a small Chinese filter, so power head, and it's got a filter box on it. And what I do is in a nylon, I put some DI resin in it, right? Probably about maybe 6 teaspoons of it, maybe a little more. And I pack it in.
Not a hand.
Sorry, go ahead.
Not a handful.
Not a handful. Don't put a handful in, right? Don't put a lot in, right?
You got big hands too, so
you'd be better to put 2 teaspoons in than to put a handful. You know what I mean? Less is going to be more in this case, but you're only going to run it for about 2 hours every other day for a week, right? And that will do the same thing that you're doing to your water that you're making. It will strip out what it what comes by. But the thing is, it's DI resin. It will catch everything that's coming by. So it doesn't matter what it is, right? So you don't want to do it too much, because what you can do is then you'll zero your tank.
Everything,
right, and your corals will start to suffer because everything's gone. So the trick to it is just to clean out the metals. You do it every other day, and that's it, and then done. Don't I'll do it for another week. No, just a week, every other day. So you're going to do it for 3 days, and you're going to run it for about 2 hours a day, maybe 3 hours a day. Really, you got to figure out your own dwell time, but don't do it more than, say, 4. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Right, and that's how you can.
I'm more likely to err on the side of doing an hour than. Yeah, I learned my lesson a long time ago about trying to go all out from the beginning. You got to take
that bad information to the bank with my middle finger up in the air. When ICP actually tells you to do that. So, you know what I mean? It's one of those little tricks that I learned from somebody that he learned from ICP, right? They said Cooper's Orb. Well, when you look into what Cooper's Orb actually is, it's DI resin. It's rechargeable DI resin. I wouldn't recharge it myself, right? So DI resin's the exact same thing. It's just when you use it, it's used up, right? So, go ahead.
And it's a mix. It's a mix as well.
Yeah.
If you take a look at the Chemi Pure Blue and stuff like that, they also have, what is it called? Activated charcoal in it as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So you could visually see a clarity change, which is
so there's activated carbon, some phosphane, if I remember correctly,
and Purigen.
Yeah. So I mean, you're looking at it and you're like, So what they're trying to do is give you a little bit of false advertisement. You know what I'm saying? That this clarifies your water
to a degree for a little while, but it's
exactly.
Yeah. I like it. It works really well, but it's a short-term solution to a problem. Now my 20-gallon tank is clear as a bell. Clear as a bell. Now my 120, not so clear as a bell. It's clear.
I attest that to bubbling.
You take all the credit for it. Let's talk about that.
I'm kidding.
What is the noticeable thing? And Cruz, we can speak to this. I know for a fact before bubbling, I was 7.9 on my pH. My pH now is rock steady at almost 8.3.
Yep.
When I go test it every time, bang on. Right? So.
Yep.
Yeah, mine's been like 8 point. What is it? Hang on, let me look at it right now.
That's why I like my pinpoint probe.
Between like 8.03 and 8.09.
And nothing wrong with that. And as long as it's consistent. And again, I speak to this all the time. it doesn't matter what it is as long as it's stable. Because then it gives you something to work from, right? That's what we, if I was to scream anything, it's patience and stability. Because patience will breed stability in that tank, right? So once you're stable, then you can work with it, right? It's, somebody likes to, say that my reference to the holy hand grenade of Antioch is off somehow. It's not, right? Too many people want to pull the pin, throw something at it, and fix it, or destroy it all at the same time. It's like, what are you doing? Go adult Duraticate. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and Cruz was talking about like when he's been helping me with the tank, and he's been giving me a little bit of advice here and there. And he mentioned earlier if he had just come in and told me to change everything, up to the point where I wouldn't have listened to most of his advice. I might have picked up something here and there.
Yep.
And started implementing part of the advice, but I had too many people here in like our local club and dealing with some of the shadier LFSs that I have around where they were getting me
to change
buy product.
buy everything new. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
They want you to buy product. Yep.
Yeah, they want me to buy products. They all push, well, all but one of them push products that would expire or would be consumed completely, which means I have to come back in and get more and more and more.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes business sense for them, and I don't fault them for that. But like one of the LFSs was like, yeah, you can buy 6 fish and throw them into your 40-gallon system 2 weeks after you get the water. And I'm like, yeah, okay, no, I'm not going to listen to that.
Yeah. See, Kohaku, Seth, we sell corals. We don't sell products. If you notice also on our website, we only sell what we use, which is very, 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 we don't have much variations. We don't have much variety. And it's because we like to stick with one thing that works for us. Does that make sense? And,
sense.
So if you're telling me what your levels are, I know exactly where you are. Because if you're going to be, if you're reefing a certain way with certain chemicals, I know exactly where you are in the entire thing. It's kind of like a roadmap. If you just drop me in the middle of the friggin' Wyoming plains, I wouldn't even know where the hell I was, except by the sun. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't really tell me much. So, I mean, but if you drop me over there in California where there's a mountain range there, I could see the friggin' palm trees on the other side, then I know exactly where I'm at. These are what we call landmarks. Yes,
you got to paint as complete a picture as possible.
Correct.
This isn't abstract art. This is realism.
Yep. Exactly. Utilizing the same type of paint. You know what I'm saying? Because now I know how a certain paint works and how it reacts when I do a certain stroke. So, I mean, it is an art. There's a lot of people that will tell you that it's 100% science. It's not. Because if it was, then they would be able to replicate it 100%. There is no 100% solution artificially to get you 100% like the ocean.
Right. There's definitely a bit of get your hands dirty and just feel it, go by gut decisions, go by all of that stuff.
Exactly. And you did what remember when I asked you, can I see some pictures? A lot of people forget, and they're just asking me, well, my levels are this, my corals aren't doing so well. I don't know what you're talking about.
What are they doing?
Yes, exactly. So when I saw your zoas stretching, I was like, oh boy, yeah, you're not getting any light at all. And I think that your acans that are used to a higher par that you bought in the store is getting no lights now.
Right.
Or very little.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had to see it to believe it,
Right.
Some type of reaction in order to be, I mean, you're my eyes and ears. You're in front of your tank. I enjoy helping people, but I can't do it without pictures. I know that, some people feel, they feel embarrassed. They're like, oh, well, my tank's not as good as yours. We'll get it.
It's not going to get there if
you stick with it.
And if you don't provide the necessary information for someone to help you, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Exactly.
Correct.
So Hey,
And
Cruz,
you know what?
the Zoas that are on the right side of the tank are not stretching near as bad as they were, but the ones on the left side of the tank still are, as far as lighting goes. And I'm not sure if it's we're down to just blues at this point, aside from the T5s.
Okay, I have a suggestion, and it may not look as good as you want it to. Now, just a temporary. On the left-hand side, is there any way that you could raise it up a bit so that the light is angled towards the left-hand side of the tank?
Yeah. I mean, I can control. Talking about doing like that?
Yeah, kind of like it's going to be a little bit lopsided. I apologize for that, but under the circumstances, you need to try to get some light over there towards your Zoas.
Right.
You can even,
or
that
you
looks
could raise
terrible. That's going to drive me nuts. But yeah. So that's part of the two reasons why the lights were as high as they were is three reasons. One, I was out of wire, so they were as far as they can go down without the zip ties that they have on now. Two, all the advice I've gotten about the Ocean Revives is to run them higher because they're known for really bad hotspots, which is also the reason why I put the parchment paper on there to try and diffuse that a little bit. I was supposed the same week I put that on there. I was supposed to get our club par meter, but our club's president he works as a nurse, and so he's busy all the time. And it's been 3 weeks since then. So I never had intended to put that on there and not find out what my par was. But yeah, so I've taken that off this morning. Let's see what was so lights wouldn't reach. Hot spots with the Ocean Revive. And again, I made a lot of these decisions back when I was having heavy metal issues and didn't know that was my issue. Had no idea.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Can you cut a circle or a square, and you see where the hot spot is in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say a 2x2 square.
Let's see. Let me grab. I think I threw away this stuff already, but
sorry about that. It doesn't have to be pretty. It can be crinkled. Doesn't matter.
Right. No worries. Parchment paper's cheap.
Yeah. You know the 4 LEDs in the middle of that fixture?
Yeah.
Block those 4 out.
Let's see.
Just a two.
Well, that's not quite big enough to do that. The way it's spaced out, I don't think I can.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just it's 2 blues and I'm blocking.
Well, I mean, even though, go ahead and put a 2-inch piece of paper on it, and you should see that hot spot in the middle a lot less. You'll get a lot of overlap from the other side LEDs.
Yeah. So that might be how I do that. But yeah, I can tell a difference.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
That way it's not hot right on top of your rock, because that is the highest point in your tank. You don't need that much. Okay. Or on top of that rock structure. Sorry about that.
Morning, Mel. How are you? So yeah, it's
good morning, Mel.
God damn, I love this hobby. Oh, Cruz, you're gonna laugh. You turned on the bubbling there, Koha? Kohakas? Yeah. I turned mine on last night and I forgot to turn it off. So I'm sitting there going, I know why my pH is so high. I'm bubbling for 12 hours at a stretch. There you go. Now tank's looking. Yeah, I just had a good look at everything. So
nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Oh no. Yeah.
Well, that means it doesn't working then. If nothing happened when you left it on too long, then it's not working.
No, exactly.
His freaking, too long. His pH is like freaking rock steady, 8.3.
Yeah, exactly. It's not changed one bit.
Yep.
Nope. So I'm getting tattooed today.
Lucky
Are
you.
you gonna have a tattoo called 8.3?
Yeah, you know what? I'll do that for you. I'll sneak that in somewhere. I'm thinking about another fish. So I got a clownfish on my inner forearm. And my wife has a matching one on hers. Like, you know, they combine like a yin and yang. And we're just getting them touched up. Yeah, I know. So touching, right? But I'm getting my other cool tattoos. I just got this one to make her happy. No, I love this guy. Right? Looks like my my first clown. So, shut up, you dumb cat. Sorry.
Meow.
Oh, God, he meows at my kid's door and he's like,
right now.
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me meow? Can you hear me meow? So, yeah.
License and registration right now.
Right meow. Yeah.
Right meow.
Yeah. No, it's funny because it's only because my female's probably in the bedroom, right? And he wants to now be in there because, hey, you're in there. I should be in there. Why am I not in there? And he's literally meowing his ass off right now. What are you doing? What are you doing?
He is clean. I was kidding.
Yeah. So aside from the bubbling and what it did to clear up my tank, the only other thing that has affected my tank as far as clarity goes, I would say almost equal to bubbling would be adding the clam to the tank.
Oh yeah, that's a big filter feeder.
So, yeah, that was just change next to bubbling.
Very good, very good. Like I said, it's only one part of it. You know what I'm saying, Kohaku?
Right.
It's not the silver bullet that kills the werewolf. It's you know, it helps. It helps everything else. You know what I'm saying? It's a domino effect. It's one of the how do you say it? It's one of the things that you can do,
right?
And that you can control, and that you don't have to spend so much money on trying to get your pH and your water chemistry stable. Because as the pH changes, you know, based on CO2 retention, the chemistry of the water changes too. You know, so I don't understand.
If your pH is stable, then your major elements are going to be more stable.
Correct. Because alkalinity, it reacts differently to different pHs.
Yep.
Right.
Nobody taught you that. Nobody said anything about that. I don't see anything in a hobby about that. You know, and
I learned that when I was working at school, when I was managing.
Exactly. So something so simple, they're trying to say, no, the reefing hobby is totally different, and it doesn't follow the freaking laws of nature. Really? You know, it's like, okay, so it's in a glass box. So once you get past that glass, all bets are off. That nature works.
Yeah, it's that weird one. When you start to hear people talk like it's a science experiment,
it isn't.
It isn't.
All we try to do in this hobby, in the aquarium hobby before, is try to replicate nature as close as possible, and then put what we enjoy, the different fish, the different corals, the different life, the different species that we like. That's it. But the stability of the environment should be there naturally.
Right.
Does that make sense? So that was one of the reasons why terrariums were the big thing before in the 80s and the 90s. We tried to replicate what was in nature. That was when we started doing a lot of dirted tanks. Yeah.
Look at that. You're late to the party, DM. We already talked about that there's no definitive proof that this is all coming from something from January. And there's some papers coming out of Walt Smith. So right now it's a wait and see. It's speculation.
It's speculation.
So it's not proof. There is no proof. If you go to the Reef for Reef thread, again, the paper even doesn't really say anything, but it does, and it's
just that we're trying to interpret their broken English.
Yeah.
What that
I do.
I'm
an international air export, so I ship stuff out of the country as my profession. And talking to people, especially either in that area and in South America, their English is so broken.
Yeah,
it's hard for it's hard for me to understand. and they 30, 45 minutes of arguing back and forth. It was really this other problem than like we've been fighting about this one, a price on the air freight, but he was actually talking about how fast it was getting to them being the problem.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Because the English is so bad. And Melanie,
they arrived 2 days before because they can see the flight just as well as I can. I have it booked on the wrong flight, but don't know that, and their English makes me think they're talking about the price of the air freight.
Yeah, he was talking about time. You were talking about money.
Money, yeah, exactly.
But in mathematical and financial terms, time is money.
Yeah, I want to get technical. I just
friggin' complicated the issue again.
And 4 ppm on your nitrates is not high at all. In fact, it's reaching a level that it should just stay right about where it is. Yeah.
Mine sits right at 8.
Mine's somewhere in the 20s, almost all the time.
And it all depends on your consumption.
Yeah, mine's
really
between 8 and 12, depending on if I test the same day I feed, it's at 12 for nitrates and 0.08 for phosphates. And if I test on a day where I haven't fed, then it's 0.04 phosphates and 0.8 nitrates.
Yep. Okay.
So you're fine. That's what we're saying. 4 ppm.
I can correlate between feeding and.
You don't have to knee-jerk react and try to do a water change.
Nope. No. Leave that be. Yeah.
Now, if you're at 50, 60, 70 and you can't control it and your phosphate's all the way down at 0, there's an imbalance.
Right.
Yeah. So right now, DM, we're just saying we don't know. Nobody knows for sure what's going on. Or what the rules are going to be. So.
Yeah. Oh, regarding the import of the
imports.
The import of the fish and the coral.
Yep.
Because I think that they were actually scrutinizing the fish population as well, and I got this smart aleck that freaking jumped on our page on Facebook, and I was like, and he goes, "Oh, it has nothing to do with fish and invertebrates right now." I said, "What do you think corals are?"
Yeah.
I said corals are invertebrates.
All you got to do is put the word sensile and just put invertebrate, and that can cover everybody, right?
Absolutely.
Except for fish. Yeah. And then it's like, and all they got to do is add the word fish, and boom, now everything's covered. We're down to nothing. Yeah.
They don't have to buy anemones.
What was it we were talking about early on the cruise? Skeletons. They're not allowed to collect coral skeletons. Well, guess what? The coral has a skeleton. So you buy... Ta-da! Now all of a sudden you're not allowed to export coral because it has the skeleton. So it's like, well, zoos don't. Yes, they do. They just have strit. Oh wow, I forgot that. There you go. Different, but they have one. They just don't have much of one.
It's what they would call cartilaginous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cartilaginous.
Yeah. But it starts with an S. I can't remember strit. Oh, strit. Anyway, stigmata. No.
Wrong movie.
Wrong movie. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Constantine. Anyway, it comes down to this. There's something going on. It started back in January. That's the only official thing you'll find. And they were talking about doing it. Nothing official is out there. If you go search it up, you will find nothing that says on May 4th. And by the way, happy late May the 4th be with you to those that are into that.
And happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody.
Cinco de Mayo to everyone else. Just thinking like, it's one of those things that's going to be a topic of conversation that's going to be effing constant till we get a for sure answer. And if we keep pushing on it, there are the powers that be that are going to want to have it stopped anyway. You know what I mean? There's going to be that tree hugging hippie who's in the right spot at the right time, who thinks that they're out there, and there are out there, some of them, the local fisheries over in that area that are doing things we don't want them to do, cyanide, capture,
right.
They're wiping there's lots of stuff going on we as hobbyists don't want. Unfortunately, they think that they need to blanket it to prevent that. And it's like, no, you need to start right. And you need to educate them because these collectors, if you can't go down and catch the fish like these guys are catching the fish, then you need to do it like these guys are doing it. If not, you need to stop. Right now, you got to remember that from their angle, right? They either caught it to export it as food, or now they're catching it as ornamental because it's worth more. And their ideology is things like, well, if we can only ship 1,000 fish, we'll get 2,000 because only 1,000 are going to survive when they get there. You know, things like that. So you're not really helping it through numbers that way. It's education that's going to be everything at that end, and it's going to be a long time to get that fixed. Now, in the meantime, is it really going to affect us? Prices are going to go up. It's that simple.
Right.
It's like anything else, supply and demand. So the ones that have what's already here, if they're going to aquaculture it, then that's great. I'm all for aquaculturing anyway. You know, it just makes sense. It really does.
It makes a lot more sense. We have a lot more control of the situation. If it is aquaculture, then it's going to be regulated in a certain way, and that the people doing the aquaculture are going to want to regulate it, so they're still have a constant flow of income from the coral they are growing. And
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I got kicked out again. Damn it. God damn it. I am so fed up. Don't forget to donate. Anyway. Damn it. Yeah, so it really comes down to, you know, till we know for sure, and I'll talk about it at length. I don't give a crap. I think it's a good discussion to have anyway. Should we be banning it? Should we not be banning it? I think it's more of we need to start conserving and in the right way. You know what I mean? Like Walt Smith, you know, we all love that, you know, Walt Smith coral. We do. But we need to get that under control. And we also don't want them to have a monopoly. I don't want to see a country suffering because one guy's driving a Ferrari in a country that they can't even afford a bike. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's you know, but there is going to be that guy.
Their bicycles are spare parts.
There's more than just there's more than just Walt collecting from Indo.
No, there's tons. There's tons. Tons. I actually know a guy who, actually that guy I had on, Joel Maxwell, that has the cuttlefish. His came directly from them, right?
We do too. We do too.
Exactly,
it
right?
Doesn't matter. You know, I appreciate, you know, that he has a farm, a mariculture farm.
Yep.
Out there, you know, I know that he does go back to his farm.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, to what end? Do you know what I'm saying? Maricultures have to come from the wild. Aquacultures have to come from maricultures and or the wild indirectly.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I'm saying?
It's all interconnected.
Exactly, but at what point do we need to start curtailing, you know, some, you know, harvesting?
Exactly. You know, at what point? Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if you collect one, do you plant three? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Right.
You know, kind of like the trees. You know, if I'm gonna knock down a tree, I'm gonna put, you know, 3 or 4 new saplings up. You know what I'm saying? To try to increase the density and you know, the timber worth. But yeah.
Out of curiosity, with the mariculture facilities, I know when we do that kind of stuff with other things, like for, you know, the salmon for food and whatever else, how much does that type of how much does that type of
bastardize the salmon industry?
Yeah.
We bastardize the freaking salmon industry.
that industry is very rough, and then you're talking about like the tuna and whatever else as well. But what kind of effects are we having on the environment in places where we are intentionally growing corals for sale for farming purposes? Because
we don't know.
I know that when we're doing, my understanding is that aquaculture of the large clams is actually beneficial for the area because it's cleaning up the water. And so my understanding is that type of farming is actually beneficial for the environment because the environment's getting cleaned up while they're able to grow a source of food or income for the people living in that area.
Yep.
In 1950s, they said that the cane toad was awesome at controlling the freaking locust population.
Right.
In Australia, now
30 years later, they were screaming, "Run them over! Run them over!"
Right.
You know, it's one. Australia is a weird one though, because Australia has an ecosystem that is completely You think it would,
to us,
yeah, it is, right? Like
so far attached. It's as different to us on land as the ocean is in a lot of ways.
Exactly. So, it's all going to come out in the wash at some point, and we've had debates about, well, why not take the staghorn that's super hardy and grows anywhere and doesn't care and put it over here? Because we don't know really what effect, well, it's a coral, but we don't know what effect that's going to have on the rest of the fauna and flora.
Marine life.
Marine life. We don't know. You can put it there. It will put a coral there and make you happier because there's a coral there. But is it the wrong coral? Is it going to lead to other problems? Is it going to lead to, whatever, right? You know what I mean?
And some coral are very aggressive, and they can actually hurt fish.
Yep.
A lot of people forget about that. Some of the toxins that they release in their mucus. I mean, how does that affect the local fauna? How does that affect the food chain? The bugs and everything else that the friggin' fish are picking off of. The pods. And I know that we generalize that term pods and bugs as, invertebrates. So how does that affect it? Because remember, there's some AFW that only eats certain species of acro, and then they leave the other ones alone. Well, the wrasses love that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They love flatworms. They eat them all day. So if you get rid of that and you plant only Monipora, the structure is different. They don't know how to. They don't know how to.
You removed their food source.
Exactly. Because the structures are different. They don't understand. Like why it changed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When they spent thousands, hundreds or thousands of years adapting to that environment.
I'm trying to remember what the study was.
There.
But there was I think it's out in the Midwest, they reintroduced a pack of wolves to the ecosystem.
Yep.
And over 20 years, they've seen that area become way more balanced. Because you now have predators that are going. You now have a predator that's going after things like deer and other herbivores that are taking down all the bushes and everything else. Which once you remove the bushes and rooting plants out, then you start having erosion. You have all by adding a predator back to the scenario, they've completely changed the landscape of forever changed the landscape.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things. Go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, they reintroduced a species that they took out.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't alien to that. It wasn't alien to the how do you say it, to the ecosystem.
Right. It was something that was supposed to be there that we overhunted and we put it back.
Exactly. But they're talking about utilizing
the point of being able to, we added one species and it affected the entire landscape in a 20-year period. That's
right. So what we're saying is what they're talking about doing is taking a species that wasn't there,
right,
and doing a cane toad thing and putting it in there to take care of an issue that they perceive. I love chasing coral. I watched it. It made me more aware of things, but it's also an alarmist.
Correct.
Okay. It's, oh my God, that there's no other opinion being shown there. There's no other scientific anything being shown there. Yeah. It is literally, and I broad term this, it's a niche eco hippie movie, right? It's like chasing, by the way, this is brought to you by the same guys about chasing ice. And, I said to one guy, you realize we've had 2 ice ages that had nothing to do with us already.
Yep.
And they kind of like, well, what's your point? Well, it receded at some point. That's why you're here.
Yep.
And they just look at you like, well, that's not the point. No, that's the entire effing point. You don't know why the ice is receding. You need to figure that part out. You need to start looking at back in history, blah, blah, blah. So on and so forth. So it really comes down to little things like that. That's where it every opinion matters here in what's going on, and eventually we'll reach some kind of a conclusion that makes sense. And I'm all for not polluting, by the way. That doesn't mean that I'm not about that. It doesn't mean
that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the narrative that's going on.
Right. It's more the if there's any dissenting opinion, my government literally got smacked down for shutting off any skeptic of global warming. Literally, you were not allowed to talk. I know Britain did the same thing. You weren't getting on the BBC and you weren't getting funding if you weren't, pro global warming movement, to fix things. If you said anything to that, alternate to that, you were cut off, right? So, thankfully my government clued the hell in. I don't know if Britain's did or not, and said, well, you can't do that. You can't say that there's no other side to this, because the simple fact that the facts pan out that way, that we don't know exactly what's going on. We're not, and again, they're doing the same thing. We're not saying we're not polluting. What we're saying is that's not necessarily the number one cause of what's going on, right?
And it's, in the past 10 years, I've been trying to utilize statistics, and people still kind of shrug on it. Over the last 10 years, the agriculture, go ahead.
Statistics make people think, and they don't tend to want to do that. It's not easy.
Exactly. And over the
it's not spoon fed for them. That's the advantage that a lot of PETA and that kind of stuff do. They break it down into simple points.
I'm gonna give you the Homer,
blow them up.
Right. I'm gonna give you the Homer Simpson response to that. If you remember that episode when they were fighting the cat burglar guy, right? Yeah. Oh well, Kent, 82% of all people can make up whatever facts they want to suit their needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Touche. Right, because you can make up a statistic for anything if you want.
Right. Exactly. You can force numbers, or just be completely false from the beginning. But as long as you look like you have a long-standing trend of it, then it looks believable.
Right.
And people accept it without doing any further looking into on their own. They're looking for someone else to do all the work, give them all the answers, and go on with their lives. Same thing we're talking about when people are looking for the magic pill in their reef tank, or the other hobby I have is I do a little bit of brewing of cider and kombucha and beer and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of people in that side of things looking for that magic pill, that magic recipe.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly right. So I'm actually, and you want to ask people, Adam, go ahead. But if it gets too far, so yeah, I do have to cut the stream off. My time has come to an end for the day. I know. But it is Saturday, so that means that it's kind of a free day for me. So what I'm going to do is put one back up in a few hours. Right? I'll complain about the tattoo hurt or something. But it's one of those cases, right? Life's outside the house comes, right? And we'll just take it from there. And because this discussion we're having literally is probably going to be fodder for the rest of the month. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's perfectly fine.
Be a routine for sure.
Right, because the thing is that we've been here before. There's an article that was in Audubon magazine called "Raiding the Reef." That was in 1998. This has been going on longer than that, but that literally led to CITES Act, blah 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 blah, and it really did, really, fundamentally changed the way a lot of our hobby went in a good way.
Yep.
But it had a lot of negative connotations. It led to the creation of NOAA in a big way, and it led to the CITES treaties between countries. And if you look at that CITES list, that reads like bad poetry. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense a lot of the time, because it's like, well, wait a minute, but I can get that coral in this way, but it was a taxation on it.
Yep.
Right? So they tried to tax people out of the hobby. And it didn't work, because you get guys like Than, or you get guys like Cruz. They're bringing in enough. It's worth their while. You know what I mean? So there's enough of it going on.
But then everybody else also wants a piece of the pie. They go,
right. So then
they're doing it, I want it. And then they go to somewhere else illegally to go get it.
You got it.
We have to pay for our licenses. We have to pay for, a lot of things that people don't see as overhead, and they take it for granted.
A lot of people don't understand how difficult it is and expensive it is to ship the stuff. And I don't work with anything alive, but even just like shipping food is a whole nother aspect of what my actual job is.
Yep. Take a look at our losses. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know how much losses we're going to get. And out of maybe 10 boxes, we get like 2 corals that may be something potential. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. It's not even guaranteed.
Crazy.
You know, and that's out of 10 full boxes at friggin' $3,500 a pop. Not only that, but it's also, you know, that's not including the whole freaking shipping costs. And
right.
also the freaking port taxes that we have to pay just to get it in here.
And licensing and brokerage.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. And a lot of people forget about that. And they're like, well, you know, Indonesia people, they're freaking posting it up like $10 for this entire colony. I'm like, yeah. So you try to get it. You know, please try.
Yep.
I encourage people to try so that they could just stop, you know, bitching and moaning about what the heck we're doing. You know what I'm saying? They think it's so easy. I welcome them to try.
well,
Yeah,
if it was that
exactly.
easy, I'd have corals that look like yours.
Yeah, and I want to see how long it takes for them to color it up. It might be the same species, but how do you know, how does an artist paint a picture? You're utilizing the same paint, but if you don't have the skill, you don't have the end result. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, it does. Perfect sense.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, a palette's a palette. If you don't know how to freaking utilize that palette, you're not going to get the same results. You know, kind of like what Craig keeps on saying, mileage may vary.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah,
to that point, if we're talking, you know, I'm going to paint, you and I could have the same live, you and I could have the same still life sitting in front of us, the same exact paints from the same exact tube, and you'll get 2 different.
Same brushes. Yep.
Same, all products could be the same. The only varying factor would be you and me, the human factor in that, and we would have 2 very different paintings, even if we were going for the same style, like ultra realism, all of it would still be 2 different paintings, and you could tell them apart easily.
Exactly, because what you see, first off, the interpretation of what you're looking at, and my interpretation, just from the get-go, before we even put the friggin' paintbrush on the friggin' thing, you know, on the canvas. The way that you see things versus the way I see things are totally different.
Blue is it could easily be that what you see is blue, I see is green.
Exactly. And that's where I keep on bringing it back. It is an art.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to downplay it.
This is a very creative, very hands-on, very there's a lot of scientific things you can go with this, depending how you want to go with the hobby. There's, I mean, and then on top of that, different purposes for doing it. Like, are you just growing out a display tank? Are you growing out coral for a display tank? Are you growing out coral for a resale? Are you growing out coral to make it grow fast and not care about color? Are you caring, or are you wanting it to grow slow with high color? Or
correct.
There's so many different ways to go about it.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think people are starting to see. You know, they brought in a lot of the maricultures, and you know, they're like, okay, hey, Craig, could you keep this hangout going so that I can talk to?
Yeah, if you want me, let me see if I can hand controls over to you, and I'll leave it up because I know you'll look after it. So.
All right, but I mean, you could shut down the stream. I don't mind.
I don't know if you should.
Oh, we want to leave this up. Okay, give me a sec. All right, folks. So later, taters, I'm going to cut it off for the day. I'll be back later on today, and we'll get back to discussing this. You guys all have a great day, and I know, Cruz, you're hanging out here for a minute. I'll leave it up for you so that you can talk to Kohaku, and we'll leave it ripping. All right.
Yeah.
Later, taters.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Later. All right, bye. Hey, how's it going, Seth?
It's going good.
Hold on here. Yeah.